name, not the tile. This is called the tile, this is called the thumbnail. That's called the eyeball. Command click on it, look what it did. It loaded the selection in my image. Where the pixels in that channel are white, it selects. Where they're black, it doesn't. Where they're gray, it partially selects. Sound familiar? So if you want to make load a selection quickly, once you've saved in your channels, you can just command click and load it. I want to show you a variation on that theme. I'm going to go over here to the layers palette. I'm going to add a new layer. It's blank. And I'm just going to paint some junk on it. I'm going to add another channel. I'm going to pick out another color. And I'm going to paint some junk on it. Notice I have the two overlapping. There's a reason. Because they're on separate layers, I can turn them on or off, change their blending mode, change their opacity. Let's pretend, for whatever strange reasons, I need a selection, the shape of the green paint. Watch this. Command key is held down. Notice what happens to the hand here. Everybody see that? See the little square on the back of it? Mm-hmm. Click. It works on layers, it works on channels. Command click on the channel thumbnail or layer thumbnail, it will load a selection the shape of the pixels on that layer. By the way, notice I'm not on this layer right now. I'm on the next layer up, right? You don't have to be on that layer to select it. So command click here, loads the red, command click here, loads the green. Well, that's not all we can do. What if I want to load both of them together? Command click on the first layer thumbnail, shift is add to, right? Shift command click, notice the plus sign on the back of the hand now? Click, I have a selection of the shape of the pixels on both layers. Ooh, I really don't need the red one, I need to subtract it. Command option. Command is what lets you click on the layer thumbnail and load the selection. Shift is add to, option is subtract from. Same thing with the magic wand. You get the magic wand tool, hold down the option key, it turns into the subtract from magic wand. I'm going to click on the red layer. Watch what happens. It's no longer selected. What if I want the intersection? I only want where these two overlap selected. Don't know why, but let's pretend I do. I'm going to command click on the first one to select it. Then I'm going to shift option command. Click. Notice the X on the back of the hand? And now all that is selected is where the two selections overlap each other. Only where they overlap is loaded. This teaches you two very important things, I hope. One, you can command click on a layer to make a selection of the shape of the pixels on that layer. And it does anti-alias the edges if the pixels on that layer are anti-alias. They're soft edged. If they're hard edged, you'll get a jagged edge selection. The second thing is build your Photoshop document in layers whenever you can, because this technique is incredibly handy. Being able to load a selection of the shape of the pixels on a layer, command click, there it is. It also works anytime you save the selection over here, command click. Let me get rid of those two. Have I lost anyone? So command click on the layer thumbnail or a channel thumbnail will load a selection to set the shape of those pixels. Pardon me for the next 20 seconds whilst I take narcotics. Bet you never had an instructor say that in class before, have you? Way too many damn vertebrae standing up for 5 hours, but yet I still do it every week.
I hope you wrote enough for the whole class.
No. Actually, I'm almost out. I've got to go pick up a refill tomorrow. To give you an idea of how bad the pain level is, they give me 120 hydrocodones every 30 days. Plus Soma, which is a very powerful muscle relaxant. I get 100 of those a month. I know when my arthritis goes into remission, it's done it about 5 times in the past 20 years. I know when it goes into remission because I realize I haven't been taking any painkillers. So I know I'm not addicted to the painkillers. People in chronic pain don't tend to get hooked on painkillers. People are in pain that goes away. That's when it happens. So every so often I look at the pill bottle and go, I haven't taken any of these in 4 days. Ooh, good sign. It doesn't happen often enough, thank you, but it does happen. It happened for a year once. That was a glorious year. Okay, so Command-click on the layer thumbnail of a channel or a layer to load a selection the shape of those pixels. Command-Shift-click on a layer thumbnail to add to what you already have selected. It doesn't matter how you've selected it. You could select using the Magic Wand tool and then Command-Click on a layer to add that to it and build up a complex selection that way. Option Command-Click on a layer thumbnail or channel thumbnail to subtract it from what you have selected. Shift Option Command-Click on a layer thumbnail or a channel thumbnail to intersect it with what you already have selected. So if the two don't overlap, what you have selected and what's on that layer or that channel, it'll deselect the entire image. It's only where they overlap that you'll end up with a selection. Everybody remember these keyboard shortcuts I told you because it's on the test? Everybody want me to tell you them one more time? Command-click on the layer thumbnail. This is all in your book, by the way. There's a lot of stuff in your book, though. Command-click on a layer thumbnail will load a selection the shape of the pixels on that layer or that channel. If that selection, if the items on that layer or that channel are anti-aliased, your selection will be anti-aliased too. Soft edge. Shift Command-click on a layer thumbnail or a channel thumbnail will add to what you already have selected. Option Command-click will subtract from what you have selected currently. And Shift Option Command-click is the one you're going to use rarely. That's an intersect. By the way, the reason I don't just give you a handout with all this information on it, because I have a handout with all this information on it, is I've noticed through the years that students who write this down remember it a lot better than somebody I give a handout to, because quite often the handout never gets read. If you learn this particular technique, these keyboard shortcuts, it will save you a huge amount of time editing photos. It will make you much more proficient with this software. Believe it or not, I know people who are pros with this software, make their living using it, who do not know you can option click on a layer thumbnail to make a selection that shape. Freaks me out when I find that out. Blows their mind when they find out you can. Wow, that's incredibly useful. Yeah. Read the manual. Get some new software, actually learn how to use it. But I digress. I do that a lot though. All right. I'm now going to open up this lovely image. Actually, no, let's go back over here to the lake shot. I want to show you a technique for making complex selections that is not very straightforward, but has incredibly good results. Some of you may get lost on this one. By the way, while you're making a selection, you say using the polygon lasso tool. Here, I'm going to go click, click, click with the polygon lasso. Right now, if I want to zoom in or out on the image to see more or less the image, I can't go get the magnifying glass, can I? Because if I come over here and click on the magnifying glass, it's going to say, what do you want me to do here? It's just going to keep on clicking, right? The keyboard shortcut to zoom in and out is Command plus and Command minus. So while doing a selection, I can zoom in, I can zoom out. If I want to move to a different part of the image while making a selection with the polygon lasso, hold down the space bar. Gives you the grabber hand. Let go of the space bar, and you're still in the middle of making your selection.
Does that work with any tool? Or
Any tool except the text tool. If you're typing with the text tool, it types the space. Very good question. Yeah, you're using any other magic wand tool. You're using the magnifying glass. The space bar turns it into the grabber hand. You're using the eraser tool. It turns it into the grabber hand. So yeah, that is universal. I never go select the grabber hand from the toolbox. I just hit keyboard shortcuts for all this stuff. So, spacebar gives you the grabber hand. You can move around, you can zoom in, you can get really detailed around the edges of this stuff. Double click to close it. All right, now for something a little obscure. Let's ditch this channel I've already saved called Sky. We're going to rebuild it using a different technique.